Hey guys, today I think is our last day of Crenshaw. We only have a couple chapters left, and I think I'm just going to cruise through and finish it. Um, so we kind of left off with Jackson talking to Marisol and spilling his beans basically about everything, and then he's laying down with Crenshaw and he's finally comfortable with them and opening up, and you can see that change of like the character change of how he now realizes he needs to speak about things because keeping it all in or feeling like you need to take care of it all can really eat away at you. So we're going to see how it ends. If I'm timing this right, today is Thursday. And so then there won't be read aloud tomorrow, and we'll start a new book on Monday. I couldn't fall asleep that night. Sounds echoed off the walls of our empty apartment. Shadows loomed and shrank. A question kept nagging at me. Why did things have to be this way? Life isn't always fair, Crenshaw had said that. His words reminded me of an interesting nature fact that Miss Malone had taught us last year in 4th grade. Bats, she said, actually share food with each other. She was talking about vampire bats, the ones that slice open sleeping mammals in the dark of night. They don't actually suck blood, it's more like they lap it up, which is awesome. But the really amazing part is that the no way part is that when they get back to the caves, they share with the unlucky bats who haven't found anything to eat. They actually, hold on guys, they actually puke up warm blood into the hungry bats' mouths. Nature. If that's not the coolest nature fact ever, I don't know what is. Miss Malone said maybe bats are helpful to each other. Even if it's a risk, they want to be able to share. She said some scientists say yes and some say no. Scientists love to disagree about things. Miss Malone looked at me then, because even though it was only like the 3rd week of school, she already pegged me pretty well. Jackson, maybe you'll be the one to settle the great are bats nice guys debate. I said probably not, because I wanted to be a cheetah or manatee or dog scientist, but I would keep bats in mind as a backup plan. Miss Malone said something else about bats that day. She said she sometimes wondered if maybe bats are better human beings than human beings are. That they share. I must have finally fallen asleep because I woke from a horrible nightmare. I was panting. Tears streamed down my cheeks. The moon was wrapped in fog. Crenshaw placed a paw on my shoulder. Gently, he butted his head against mine. Bad dream? He asked. I don't remember it really. I was in a cave, I think, and I was yelling for someone to help me and nobody would listen. I'll help, said Crenshaw. I'll listen. I turned to him, looking in his eyes. I could see myself reflected. I can't go with my family, I said. My own words surprised me. I can't live in the minivan again. I don't want to have to worry anymore. I'm tired, Crenshaw. I know, he said. I know. I blinked. The answer was obvious. I had to run away. It wasn't going to be much of a trip. I'd just have to go ask Marisol if I could stay with her. She had plenty of room. I could help around the house. I leaped up. Crenshaw watched me but didn't say a word. It wasn't like I had a lot to pack. I grabbed my pillow, my keepsake bag, some clothes, and my toothbrush. The way I figured it, I'd go over to Marisol's house before my family woke up. Marisol was an early riser. She wouldn't mind. It was hard to find a piece of paper and a pencil, but I managed. Aretha and Crenshaw watched me chew on the pencil as I tried to decide what to write. What should I say? Tell the truth to the person who matters most, Crenshaw said. Tell the truth to you. And so I did. Dear Mom and Dad, here are the facts. I am tired of not knowing what is going to happen. I am old enough to understand things. I hate living this way. I'm going to live with Marisol for a while. When you figure things out, maybe I can join you. Love, Jackson. P.S. Aretha likes to sleep on a pillow, so don't forget. P.P.S. Robin needs to know what's going to happen too. In an envelope, I put $10 I'd made from walking the Goucher's Dachshunds. On the outside, I wrote, to cover 2 unfortunate incidents where I used very bad judgment, please give $7 to Safeway for 2 jars of Gerber chicken and rice and $3 to Pet Food Express for a cookie shaped like a cat. Tell him the truth. Tap, 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 tap. It was Robin knocking on my door. Jax? I dropped my pencil. Go to sleep, Robin. It's late. It's scary in my room. It'll be morning soon. I'll just wait here by your door, Robin said. I have Spot to keep me company. I looked at Crenshaw. He held up his paws. Don't ask me. Human children are indefinitely more complicated than kittens. Please go back to bed, Robin, I pleaded. I don't mind waiting, she said. I stood. I went to the door. I hesitated. I opened it. Robin came in. She had Spot her pillow and her Lyle book. I looked at her. I looked at my note. I crumpled it up and tossed it aside. We read Lyle together until we both fell asleep. When I awoke, Robin, Aretha, and Crenshaw were spread out on the mattress. Robin and Aretha were both drooling a little. Sitting on the floor across from us were my mom and dad. They had on their bathrobes. My dad had my crumpled up note flattened out in his lap. "Good morning," my mom whispered. I didn't answer her. I didn't even look at her. "Fact," my dad said softly. "Parents make mistakes." "A lot," my mom added. "Fact," said my dad. "Parents try not to burden their kids with grown-up problems." Rory! But sometimes things are hard to do. Let me get the dog. She's barking. Come here. Whoop! There she is. Now she's going to sit here next to me and probably complain because she's uncomfortable. Shocking. Dogs, man. Robin stirred a little, but she didn't wake. "Well, it's hard being a kid, too," I said. I was glad I sounded so angry. It's hard not to know what's going to happen. "I know," said my dad. "I don't want to go back to that time," I said, my voice getting louder with each word. "I hated you for putting us through it. It wasn't fair. Other kids don't have to sleep in their car. Other kids aren't hungry." I knew that wasn't the truth. I knew that lots of other kids had it worse than I did, but I didn't care. "Why can't you just be like other parents?" I demanded. I was crying hard. I gasped for breath. "Why does it have to be this way?" My mom came over and tried to hug me, and I wouldn't let her. "We're so sorry, sweetheart," she whispered. My dad sniffed. He cleared his throat. I looked over at Crenshaw. He was awake, watching me carefully. I took a deep, shuddery breath. "I know you're sorry, but that doesn't change the way things are." "You're right," said my dad. "You're ruining this, Rory." Sit down. Sit down. They're all going to stare at you trying to figure out how to lay down. Sorry. Working from home. "I know you're sorry, but that doesn't change the way things are." "You're right," said my dad. No one talked for a few minutes. The only sound was Crenshaw purring gently, and the only thing I could hear was him. Slowly, very slowly, I began to feel my anger changing into something softer. "It's okay," I finally said. "It's really okay. I want you to tell me the truth from now on. That's all." "That's fair," my dad said. "More than fair," my mom agreed. "I'm getting older. I can handle it." "Well, then here's another fact. Last night I called the guy who wanted to buy our guitars. He told me his brother owns the music store down by the mall. He needs an assistant manager. His brother also has a garage apartment behind the store that won't be occupied for a month. It'll give us a roof over our heads for a little while anyway. Maybe some more work." "That's good, right?" I asked. "It's good," my dad said, "but it's not a certainty. Here's the thing, Jackson. Life is messy. It's complicated. It would be nice if life weren't always that way, but it is." He drew an imaginary line that kept going and going and going. "Life isn't like this. It's more like this." He made a jiggly line that went up and down like a mountain. "So you just have to keep trying." There's a good theme right there. Life is messy and complicated, and that you have to keep trying at it because it's not a steady line. It goes like this. Right now, we're in the waves, right? We're not in a high, we're in a low. And we'll go back up again. We'll get better. "What's the expression?" asked my mom. "Fall down 7 times, get up 8? "More fortune cookie wisdom," said my dad. "But it's true." My mom patted my back. "Starting today, we'll be as honest with you as we can. Is that what you want?" I looked over at Crenshaw and he nodded. "Yes, that's what I want." "All right then, it's a deal." "Fact," said my mom. "I'd really like some breakfast. Let's go see what we can do about that." The music store looked pretty run down. We waited in the car while my parents went to talk to the owner. It took a long time. Robin and I played cereal ball with our T-ball cap and some sugarless bubble gum. "You remember those purple jelly beans?" Robin asked. "The magic ones?" Robin nodded. They were maybe not so magic." I sat up straighter. "What do you mean?" "They were from Kylie's birthday party." Robin pulled in her ponytail. "I just wanted you to think they were magic, but there's no such thing, of course." "I don't know," I said. "Could be magic." "Really?" "Yeah, magic could happen sometimes." "Really?" she said again. "Really," I said. When my parents came out of the store, they were smiling. They shook a man's hand and he gave my dad a set of keys. "Got the job," my dad said. "It's part-time, but with everything else it should help. And we can stay in that apartment for a month anyway. Hopefully by then we'll have come up with yet another plan. We really want to keep you and Robin at the same school. We're going to do our best, but there's no guarantees. I know, I said, and even though it didn't solve all our problems, I felt a little better. The garage apartment was tiny with only one bedroom. There was no TV and the carpeting was a weird beige. Still, it had a roof and a door and a family who needed it. The article I read about imaginary friends said they often appear during times of stress. It said that as kids mature, they tend to outgrow their pretend world. But Crenshaw told me something else. He said imaginary friends never leave. He said that they were always on call, just waiting in case someone needed them. I said that sounded a lot like a lot of waiting around, and he said that he didn't mind. It was his job. What do you think? The first night in our apartment, I slept in a chair in the living room. I woke up in the middle of the night. Everyone else was sleeping soundly. As I headed to the bathroom to get a drink, I was surprised when I heard the water running. I knocked, and when no one answered, I opened the door a crack. Bubbles floated and danced, steam billowed, but through the mist I could make out Crenshaw in the shower, fashioning a bubble beard. "Do you have any purple jelly beans?" he asked. Before I could answer, I felt my dad's hand on my shoulder. "Jackson, you okay?" I turned and hugged him hard. "I love you, and that's a fact." "I love you too," he whispered. I smiled, recalling the question I'd been meaning to ask. "Dad, have you ever known anyone by the name of Finian?" "Did you say Finian?" he asked with a faraway look in his eyes. I closed the bathroom door, and as I did, I caught another glimpse of Crenshaw. He was standing on his head. His tail was covered with bubbles. I squeezed my eyes shut and continued to count to 10. 10 seconds seemed like the right amount of time for me to be sure he wasn't going to leave. When I opened my eyes, Crenshaw was still there. There had to be a logical explanation. There's always a logical explanation. Meantime, I was going to enjoy the magic while I could. Oh, I want to cry. The whole idea, too, I like the fact that it doesn't end with, like, everything being wrapped up and Crenshaw leaves because everything's perfect. It leaves with, like, Jackson's now aware of how to communicate with his family, and his family's aware of what they need to say to him. Right, Bippa? And that Crenshaw's going to be there to support him. And the fact that you need someone like that in your life, whether it's real or imaginary. I love Catherine Applegate. I should get Wish Tree. I don't know how because everything's closed, but maybe Mrs. Harity has it. I could get her to mail it to me or something. So there's our first distance learning read aloud. Crazy. Crenshaw. I have some other options to start next week. One of them was out of my mind, but I heard Mr. Michael's class read it, so I might do it. But if I do, then Mr. Michael's friends can either listen to it again or skip it. But it's one of my favorite books that I do every year, so might do that one. And if this continues, I'll probably end up doing Harry Potter from home. So we'll see how that goes. All right, have a great day. I'll start read aloud again on Monday. Bye.